Hi, I just wanted to do a short video about Stellar's Challenge A program that he's in. He's just starting week 11. There's 30 weeks of the program, and Challenge A is part of Classical Conversations, which we started when he was about 5 years old, and we've just been going through every year with the curriculum. This year was probably my most exciting. I just got so excited preparing for the school year with ordering the different books and the different subjects that he was going to be doing. Over the summer, I just introduced to him some of the flashcards. We did have to read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I just had him get familiar with some of the textbooks and things he was going to be doing. And then we just jumped in the start of the year, and every week is laid out. There's assignments for each subject. They call them strands. One of the ones that he's enjoying and I'm enjoying with him is cartography. So he's learning how to draw from memory the entire world map. And so each section, like every 3 weeks, they'll work on a different section of the map, and they first, he's been tracing with tracing paper, and then he can work on freehand and try to draw it from memory. During the week, he just practices drawing and then labeling the countries and the capitals of the countries and learning a little bit about those different sections of the map. So that's one thing that's really cool. And what a great way to learn geography. And it's kind of nice when he's been doing a lot of brain stuff that he can just do some like stuff with his hands, and it's kind of like a quiet time for him. And then every 3 weeks they're also reading a different novel or book, and then they are learning how to write a thesis. And so they are using Lost Tools of Writing program. And when they first start the program, the first week that first thesis, I guess it's due on the third week, they're really just learning the very bare bones of a thesis. Making an argument and then having proofs. And then every week or every paper that they do, they add a little bit more to it. And this last one he did, it was called the exordium, which I didn't even know what that was, but it's just a way to introduce at the very beginning of your thesis and grab attention. And there was 3 options. You can ask a question, you can challenge the reader, or you can do a quote. And so they brainstorm the idea, and then of course when they go to do their paper, they pick which exordium they're going to use. But I've just been loving this program. I like how they really try to make it easy and then introduce one new concept that might be a little difficult each time. And there's ways to practice it throughout the 3 weeks before you're turning in your thesis paper. And I think it's really going to prepare him for future writing, or just even verbally debating, because you're learning how to make your proofs, proofing your point. So another subject is Latin, and the Latin, we're kind of taking it in stride. I feel like we're not going through it as diligently as I would have liked to do, but it is his least favorite subject, and he keeps asking, like, why do I have to learn this? But there's flashcards that we can study. He's trying to just learn the vocabulary. He already had memorized some of the different declension endings, but now he's really putting that into practice and breaking down every word with the different declensions. And I know that they're going to review this over the next few years, so I'm not too concerned with him not keeping up with the full class, like what I would have pictured. I think if you could really do everything, you'd be doing like an hour to 2 hours a day of the Latin, and we're happy to get like 15 or 30 minutes in. So he's just kind of briefly going through that. I still think it will make a difference in his life, to learn that language. And then there's another class that I just absolutely love, and it's called Analogies, and it's in their reasoning strand. They do that for the first 15 weeks, and then they're going to switch to the fallacy detective, which I'm also super excited about. But the analogies is so awesome, and it helps with everything, like just everything. I'll just leave it to like you to explore if you're interested. But that is definitely my favorite class that he's in, and it's just so unique. Like I was never taught anything like that, and and now I'm seeing analogies every day, all day long. Like I use analogies, I hear the analogies being used, and I never paid attention at all to analogies, and now I'm like tuned in, and it really is such a great part of our communication. So hopefully you'll get, if you put your child through Challenge A, you'll get a to do that. Or if you're homeschooling, you could actually do the analogies class at home. It's not complicated. You can order the book and just go through. It's broken down into 4 days per week, I guess. And get the 5th day is what they do in community with their teacher. So you would actually have 5 days. And anyway, so I highly recommend that one. And the math map, oh my gosh, don't get me started on math map. I know there's been a lot of pushback. Like there's a lot of classical conversation moms and dads that do not like math map, and they're not really using it except for like the required amount for community day. But this is the first year I've really had a curriculum for Stellar for math. We've always kind of bounced around, did worksheets, I just did really random math. He really has a knack for math. It's one of his stronger subjects. And so with Math Map, I wasn't sure how he would like it, and I did get the recommended level, and I was worried that might be too complicated for him. But it's not at all. I mean, he's doing perfectly well. It does help that it has the answer sheets. So if you're not sure about how to do a problem or what the answer is, you can always double check that. The flashcards that go along with Math Map have been really fun for him. He's really trying to memorize them, and he really enjoys doing the flashcards. And then when he does the flashcards and starts learning the symbols when he does the homework in the Math Map, it helps understand the problems. So I might do a whole other video on Math Map because I really love it, but this is also our first year going through it officially. So I'm going more on the concepts of it and the introduction of it, but having experience going through it is new to us. But I'm really enjoying that. And again, I wish I could have learned math that way. It's a very holistic approach to math where you're kind of learning all of math at the same time, and just breaking down into different parts of math. So they'll do like a week of multiplication, a week of division, a week of fractions. The first week was called ex nihilo, which I didn't even know what that was, but it's based on 0 and nothing. And there's a lot of debate about, is there a 0, is there nothing? One guy that I was in the practicum with, he said that at his college they had a whole math class on 0, on ex nihilo. So it was very eye-opening to me that is such a big part of learning math and understanding really God in math. And that's the other thing, is they bring God into every subject. And even looking at math, you're always looking for God's handiwork or God's way of communicating or God's logic. It's really, I just love that. And then I think those are all the subjects. Research. So for research, for the first 10 weeks, every week he did researched a different type of animal, or it wasn't just animals, but every week they had a different part of an animal thing that they would, like amphibians or reptiles or mammals. And they would pick up one and then research it and then pick some details about that to do a paper on. And they really followed a lot of what they learned in Essentials. So I liked that we were able to continue that program a little bit with the Essentials. And then they would read that to the class. So instead of doing like their weekly presentations, like they did in Foundations where they bring something and present, they at least got to present their research paper at class. So still working on presentation as far as voice projection or maybe looking up at the audience, not just staring down at your paper, still getting practice working on that. And it was really fun. And because of his experience with Essentials, learning how to write papers, it made it pretty easy. I want to say forced him. I did kind of force him. Really forced him to follow the keyword outline instead of just, Mom, I'll just write it out of his memory, or that's okay. But like when you do follow the keyword outline, when you go to write, it does make it so much easier. And he had to take 2 sources and do keyword outlines and then merge those sources together. So I was really focused more on that approach instead of just writing a paper about something. And I think that covers all that he's doing right now. With the science portion or research portion, they just finished the 10 weeks of writing their research papers, and they had to do a nature journal and draw a picture of the animal that they were talking about. So again, I think he liked, not that he spent tons of time, but he had the opportunity to draw, and he could have spent more time on it, but sometimes he was pretty quick with his drawings. But now we're going into science fair. So this is new to me. I was a judge for the science fair last year for the kids. So I got a kind of a glimpse at the end project, and then they have these journals, the research journals, that they're going to keep track of all their experiments and costs of doing their experiments, everything they're going to put in this little journal thing. So I kind of have an idea of what that's supposed to look like, and now we're just going through the 10 weeks preparing for that. So anyways, just super loving this program. If you're not sure what to do for your 7th grader, highly recommend finding a group. It does really help to be in a community. I know some people try to take the curriculum and just do it themselves at home, and I think that's okay, but there's such a benefit of being part of the community and even having the kids challenge each other and something to look forward to share what you're learning and to share your papers and read your writings in front of the group. So I really, highly recommend being in a community if you're going to do it, but definitely check out that Analogies book. Just that one alone would be awesome to include in your curriculum if you're kind of doing your own thing.